Good morning. It is our fourth day of exploring, I'm going to call it the peninsula where all 5 of the D-Day beaches are. Yesterday we did Omaha Beach. We had a nice lunch, and then we drove about 30 or 40 minutes to Utah Beach, which is the 5th beach. And then here at Utah Beach, they have a museum down on the beach. It was getting late, so we pulled into the camper parking lot. That's something we haven't talked a lot about, that in this area there is a lot of parking for campers. Some cost 10, 11, or 12 euros, but some are free. And this one here at Utah Beach is free, and it was nice, right?
It's nice, and it's late in the year, so
Yeah.
We're getting real close to December, and well, a lot of the campgrounds are closed.
Yeah.
And so the free options are nice, and the paid spots are few and far between.
Yeah, but it's been really easy to do. I can imagine during season these places could fill up. This spot here, I would say, probably has room for 25 or so camper vans, but that'd be parked side by side. Looks like we shared it with 2 other people last night, so of course plenty of room. The kitties got a walk, which was nice. But this morning, we're taking you to the last of the beaches. We are headed up to Utah Beach, and we're going to go in one more museum there and see what we can learn, or maybe just walk around the beach. We'll see when we get there.
There's one more thing I want to say to you guys. If you come to the Normandy beach area, the 5 beaches, the roads along here take you through small little towns and villages, some of which where you can see where the destruction occurred. Obviously, most of it's been rebuilt, but it's still a fascinating drive through the area from beach to beach. Every once in a while you see a tank or like some sort of war memorabilia, and it's more than just the museums and the beaches. It's this whole area. You really get a good sense of what happened during World War II.
Yeah, so I wanted to make sure we shared some of that with you before we go visit this last beach. But now it's time. We're going to drive maybe 1,000 feet up the road and go see what Utah Beach looks like.
September 3rd, 1939. Following the German attack against Poland, Britain and France declared war on Germany. A long period of inactivity follows. The phony war. May 10th, 1940. German troops overwhelm Allied forces in Belgium and northern France. June 18th, 1940. The Germans enter Sainte-Marie-du-Mont, marking the start of their 1,457-day occupation of the village. Cherbourg falls the same day. General de Gaulle makes his first call to arms for the resistance on the BBC. July 31st, 1940. Food rationing begins. September 14th, 1940. The first acts of resistance in the region. The Feldkommandeur at Saint-Lô announces that in the Manche, several acts of sabotage have been committed in the past few days. January 1st, 1941. Nightly curfew established in Manche between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. October 20th, 1941. The coastal areas are restricted except for those who travel with a pass. December 7th, 1941. Following the Japanese attack on the American naval base at Pearl Harbor, the United States of America enters the war. March 23rd, 1942. Hitler publishes Directive Number 40 ordering the construction of the Atlantic Wall. 150,000 men, 4,500 Navy vessels, 6,000 aircraft. The goal, to launch a counterattack to free and liberate Europe. The target, a 13-mile stretch of Normandy coastline. On the western edge of the planned landing, one objective stands out: Utah Beach. It's not part of the original D-Day plan, but Dwight D. Eisenhower contends that it has a crucial role in taking over the heavily defended Cherbourg, a critical deep water port controlled by the Germans. But the Germans have developed a formidable defense. It's called the Atlantic Wall. It's made up of vast minefields, anti-tank traps, large structures and barbed wires, concrete bunkers and concrete pillboxes, weapons and machine gun nests. One of Hitler's top commanders, Erwin Rommel, has been reinforcing the wall for almost a year. He's convinced that defending an Allied invasion on the beaches will be critical. To thwart an invasion, the Germans have also flooded the marshland throughout the peninsula, turning the small sliver of sand of Utah Beach into kind of an island. The problem for the Allies isn't just on the beach, but it's how to get off. Utah Beach is a tactical nightmare, which is 4 essential causeways offering access. If any of the causeways are cut off, the soldiers are sitting ducks. No wonder why the Allied generals are worried about the dangers of this attack. They fear it may end in disaster. June 4th, 9:45 p.m.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon a great crusade, toward which we have striven these many months.
General Eisenhower gives the go order. Thousands of vessels set off. The largest naval armada ever assembled. The most exposed is Force U. 865 ships and landing craft en route to attack Utah Beach. Just after midnight, in the first hours of June 6th, the war at Utah Beach begins from above. To protect the beach landing, a new warfare is called on: airborne attack. "13,000 paratroopers dropping behind enemy lines. The paratroopers jump into the darkness. In the chaos of the first hours, many land miles off target. Some come down in the water and drown. Others wander through the hedgerows, lost and dark, stranded in the middle of 2 enemy divisions. In the moonlit silence, a little clicker tells them who to trust. When combat erupts, it's brief and brutal. It's a battle with no front lines, but their tasks are crucial. Neutralize enemy artillery, control the causeways off the beach, capture crossroad towns like Santa Maria Iglesia, and secure the beachhead from counterattack. If they fail, Utah Beach will become a killing zone. At 4:05 a.m., 12 miles offshore, troop transports start unloading 5,000 GIs onto landing craft. They are heading to the rendezvous with destiny. From 5:36 to 6:09 a.m., Allied ships unleash a barrage of fire against the coastal defenses. Among them, the battleship USS Nevada, a proud survivor of the Japanese attack at Pearl Harbor. As the sun rises, nearly 300 low-flying B-26 Marauders come roaring down the coast to bomb German positions. Over 1 million pounds of explosives come raining down. Each hour is moments away. In the chaos of war, anything can happen. And for the men of the 4th Division, it's happening now. 600 infantrymen crammed into 20 landing craft, tossed by the churning waves, violently seasick, and they're about to land in the wrong place. This is the vanguard of the American attack. Their guide boat has been sunk. A strong current is pulling them south, and the bombing is so ferocious the coast is impossible to make out. When the very first landing craft touch down at Utah Beach, they are over a mile south of the planning landing spot. Worse, they're not sure where they are. General Teddy Roosevelt realizes they're in the wrong place. He will decide to attack inland anyway. He sends the order, "We're going to start the war from here." For these men of the 4th Infantry Division, the beach looks endless. Arriving at low tide to avoid the beach defenses, they're now more than 700 yards away from safety, and the German guns are blasting. Behind them come the 1st Engineer Special Brigade, a Navy demolition team to carve the path through the defenses. By 6:40 a.m., 27 amphibious tanks are on the move, pushing towards German targets. And by 7 a.m., the troops have reached the cover of the anti-tank wall. Not far away lies the German stronghold Winterstennest 5. The attack is short and brutal. By 7:15 a.m., the stronghold is destroyed. Overwhelmed, German forces are surrendering. The famous Atlantic Wall has been breached. By noon, paratroopers and infantry are able to converge near Saint-Domingue. The invasion flows off the beach and into the countryside. 23,000 men and almost 2,000 vehicles are on the move. One of the riskiest operations of the war has become one of the most successful. For the next 3 weeks, the Allies will claw their way towards the target, Cherbourg. By June 26, they will control it. During this time, Utah Beach will develop itself into a major port, funneling troops and tanks, men and material onto the continent. Over the next 5 months, 836,000 American troops will cross these sands. And so, too will General Leclerc and France's 2nd Armored Division en route to liberate Paris. In less than a year, the Third Reich will fall. And so this beach, these few miles of sand, bore witness to a battle like no other, and an assault so bold it turned the tide of war. Here, a great gamble was taken and won. Here, the courage of thousands of fighting men, history was rewritten, and a future was forged. And the world has changed. Here at Utah Beach. On June 6, 1944, the successful coordination of Allied air and naval power paved the way for victory at Utah Beach. Yesterday, we visited Omaha Beach, and we're taking you there now. As we drive through this area, we are fascinated with the small villages, just trying to imagine our troops approaching this area with so many places for snipers and natural bunkers for the German forces to lay in wait. We try to imagine tanks driving down these roads and the hundreds of thousands of soldiers who fought, struggled, and died here. It's something I still have a hard time getting my head around. Omaha Beach was the deadliest of the 5 beaches that were stormed on D-Day. 43,500 American soldiers were delivered to the beach in transport boats at low tide to avoid the obstacles and landmines that were part of the Atlantic Wall established by the Germans. And Omaha Beach was much more fortified than intelligence suggested. The beaches were lined with pillboxes and bunkers filled with German soldiers, but their aerial bombardment missed almost completely. The German MG-42 machine gun fires 20 bullets per second. There are about 35 soldiers on a landing craft. So if a German fired an MG-42 into a landing craft, once the door drops, all the soldiers could have been killed within 4 seconds. It was a bloodbath. For the fortunate soldiers to make it out of the boat and onto the beach, they were still left with 300 yards of beach to cover, with little or nothing to hide behind. After 11 hours of fighting, and before nightfall, the American soldiers had taken control of Omaha Beach at the cost of 3,000 American precious lives. By midnight, 159,000 Allied troops had landed on the 5 beachheads of Normandy, setting up for the biggest military operation in history to remove Hitler from power. Civilians in the fight. Even before the invasion begins, Allied bombing raids inflict casualties on the French and civilian population. Many more civilians die after the landings, often caught between Allied and German forces as the battle rages deeper into Normandy. The French feed Allied troops as they enter the towns and provide information on German troop locations and booby traps. Members of the French resistance continue to attack and sabotage German troops and equipment behind the lines and operate alongside Allied units in some areas. After 4 years of German occupation, French citizens welcome the Allies as liberators, but freedom comes at a cost. Thousands of buildings are destroyed and more than 18,000 French civilians are killed during the fighting in Normandy. Between 1939 and 1944, the U.S. Army grew from fewer than 200,000 to more than 8 million service members. By June 1994, 1.5 million U.S. troops are stationed in Britain alongside other Allied forces from across the world. Prior to the D-Day invasion, Allied troops underwent specialized training in amphibious invasion tactics and were taught to use the new equipment. The human cost. D-Day took a terrible toll on the Allied troops. While a precise figure is difficult to estimate, approximately 8,500 were killed, wounded, or missing in action. 5,000 lives were taken on the 5 beaches alone. Over 14,000 American paratroopers landed behind enemy lines with approximately 2,500 casualties, and British paratroopers dropped 8,500 and approximately 850 died. In his 1944 report, Field Marshal Rommel cites 250,000 German soldiers killed, wounded, or missing for the month, including 28 generals. The Americans killed in Normandy were buried in temporary cemeteries during the campaign. After the war, families were given the choice to leave their loved ones in Normandy or bring them home for burial. The permanent cemetery was completed in 1956. The cemetery site covers 172.5 acres and contains the graves of over 9,000 military dead. Roughly 1,000 lost their lives in the D-Day landings, and the rest in the ensuing operations of the Normandy campaign. On the walls of the missing, there are over 1,500 names engraved, with rosettes marking those who were since recovered and identified.
Alright guys, I know the past couple of videos have been pretty intense, but this is an intense part of our world history.
It was just such a massive operation,
Yeah.
hard to get your head around. I mean, just so many people involved, and unfortunately, so much tragedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible.
It was a lot. I'm really glad we took the extra time and really dove deep into all of the beaches and learned a lot more of the intense history of this area. Curt is slowing down because he's spotted a big bird in a tree. It never fails that wildlife will slow us down. But we, in fact, as we were pulling out of our last D-Day beaches of Normandy Place, we passed some deer on the side of the road.
I think the nature is trying to tell us it's time to turn the page.
It's time to turn the page. So we are leaving the beaches of Normandy. We're leaving the World War II history areas behind. We are southbound. We have a really cool destination, but you're going to have to wait till the next video to see it. So we will see you guys in a few days. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys.